You think you are educating them. You raise your voice, you shout, and for a second it feels like it works. The cat stops. It freezes. It looks at you with those big, wide eyes, and you think, good, she finally understands that she shouldn't do that. But you are catastrophically wrong. In that exact moment, while the echo of your voice is still hanging in the air, a devastating chain reaction is triggered inside your cat's head. It's not a lesson in manners, it's a neurological disaster. To understand why you should never, ever shout at your cat, you need to dive into a world where sounds are physical blows, and where a single scream can rewrite years of trust. This is what actually happens in your cat's mind when you lose your temper.
You aren't just a teacher in their eyes. You are a shifting landscape of safety and terror. To understand the impact of your shout, you first need to look at the hardware your cat is using. Your cat's hearing is one of the most sophisticated biological tools in the animal kingdom. While you can hear sounds up to about 20,000 hertz, your cat can detect frequencies up to 64,000 hertz. They can hear the ultrasonic squeaks of a mouse and the faint rustle of a predator in the grass. Now, imagine that world of high sensitivity. For your cat, your shout isn't just loud. It is a sonic explosion. When you scream, the volume you perceive is magnified tenfold in their ears.
It's the equivalent of someone putting a megaphone against your ear and firing a blank shot. Physically, the loud noise triggers the tympanic membrane to vibrate violently, but the real damage happens in the brain. The amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing fear, instantly takes control. It doesn't matter if you were shouting no or just venting frustration. To your cat, you have suddenly become a life-threatening predator. Their body is flooded with cortisol and adrenaline. Their heart rate triples. Their pupils dilate as they enter a state of hyperarousal. They aren't thinking about the furniture you wanted to protect. They are thinking about whether they will survive the next few seconds of your presence. Here is the most painful truth you need to face. Cats do not understand the concept of punishment. Dogs have a social structure based on hierarchy and pleasing a leader, but cats are solitary hunters by nature. Their logic is strictly based on cause and effect, and safety versus danger. When your cat does something you don't like, they are usually following an instinct, sharpening claws to mark territory, or exploring heights to feel secure. When you shout, your cat does not connect the noise to their action. They don't think, I am being yelled at because I scratched the chair. Instead, they think, this giant human, who usually feeds me, has suddenly become unstable and dangerous. This creates what psychologists call unpredictable stress. If you, the person who provides safety, suddenly become the source of terror, your cat's world collapses. They lose the ability to feel safe in their own territory. Over time, your chronic shouting leads to long-term cortisol elevation. This doesn't just make them jumpy, it literally suppresses their immune system. You aren't just hurting their feelings, you are physically shortening their life. Let's talk about that look you see on the thumbnail. The squinted eyes, the flattened ears, the crouched posture. You probably call this the guilty look. You say, look at her, she knows she did something wrong. But you are misinterpreting their language. Cats don't feel guilt in the way you do. What you are seeing is pure submission and fear appeasement signals. When your cat flattens their ears, they are protecting them from a potential physical strike. When they crouch low, they are trying to look smaller and less threatening to stop your aggression. They are not admitting fault. They are begging for the predator, which is you, to stop the attack. By continuing to shout while they show these signals, you are ignoring their white flag. This leads to a state called learned helplessness. Your cat realizes that no matter what they do, the shouting might happen. They stop trying to interact with you. They hide. They stop being the curious, loving pet you wanted and turn into a ghost cat that lives in a state of permanent anxiety. You have traded a loving companion for a terrified roommate. What happens next is even worse. Your shouting often backfires. Instead of stopping the behavior, it creates new, more destructive ones. Fear is a precursor to aggression. A cat that feels constantly threatened by your voice will eventually reach a breaking point. One day, when you reach out to pet them, they might hiss or bite. Not because they are mean, but because they are in a state of defensive aggression. Their brain is stuck in fight or flight mode, and they've decided that fight is their only option left. Others go the opposite way. They develop obsessive-compulsive behaviors. This includes over-grooming to the point of baldness or excessive meowing at night. Or, most commonly, urinating outside the litter box. Your cat isn't doing this to get back at you. They are doing it because they are so anxious that they need to surround themselves with their own scent to feel even a tiny bit of security. When you shout at them for peeing on the rug, you are adding fuel to the fire that caused the accident in the first place. You are trapped in a cycle of stress that only you have the power to break. Beyond the immediate fear, you are causing something much deeper: cognitive decay. When a brain is constantly bathed in stress hormones because of your shouting, it loses the ability to learn new things. A cat that is scared of you cannot be trained. Their learning window closes because their brain is too busy scanning for the next time you might explode. Think about your relationship. If you had a partner who occasionally screamed at the top of their lungs at you for mistakes you didn't understand, would you ever truly relax in their presence? No, you would always have one eye on the exit. That is how your cat lives now. You have created a home where the base level of existence is tension. This chronic stress can lead to cognitive dysfunction syndrome as they age. Essentially, you are accelerating the aging process of their brain. Your voice, which should be a source of comfort, has become a neurotoxin. You also need to realize that you are ruining the social structure of your home. If you have multiple cats, your shouting at one cat affects all of them. Cats observe how you treat others. When they see you attacking one of their companions with your voice, the entire group enters a state of high alert. This often leads to inter-cat aggression. The stress you introduce causes the cats to take out their frustration on each other. You might wonder why your cats have started fighting lately, never realizing that you are the catalyst. Your lack of emotional control is poisoning the atmosphere for every living being in your house. You're the alpha, not through respect, but through fear. And in the feline world, a leader who rules through fear is eventually avoided at all costs. So if your shouting is a disaster, what do? You must become the stable leader your cat deserves. You use the redirect and reward system. If they scratch the sofa, don't scream. Make a short, sharp hiss sound, which is cat language for stop, or simply clap your hands once. Then, and this is the key, immediately show them where they can scratch and reward them with a treat when they use it. You have to be the stable point in their lives, not the unpredictable monster they need to hide from. Your cat doesn't have a voice to tell you how much your shouting hurts, but their behavior tells the whole story. If you want a cat that loves you, follows you, and feels safe in your arms, you must put away the anger. You must put away the loud voice. Because once that trust is broken, it might take a lifetime to rebuild. You have the power to change this today. You can choose to be the person your cat thinks you are when you're being kind. Don't let your home be a place of fear. Stop shouting. Start listening. Because what happens in your cat's mind when you stay calm is far more beautiful. It's the birth of true,
unconditional love. And that is something no amount of discipline could ever achieve.